All right, so welcome everybody that's watching the recording. I've been out on vacation. We went to Leo Carrillo and we're camping it up down there, and it's in Malibu, a nice little beach. I don't know about you guys, but I find it funny where people wear a mask when nobody's around them within 100 feet, but they're on the beach wearing masks. Who else thinks that's funny? Dave asked Donald, what determined the 40 fishing order on Z? So Dave, I looked at the price of what it was trading beforehand. I simply added the delta in and did a little pullback. I was looking for like I don't remember the numbers, 176 pullback. So I had it at 50 at first, but then I said, you know what, I think it'll actually drop to 40. And so I put it in at 40. And ultimately what Nate does, and if I was here and more aware, he calls it sprinkling. He puts some in at like 50, 40, 30. So he kind of staggers them in to see how low he can get filled. Yeah, Chad, you're driving in your car by yourself wearing a mask. Yeah, anyway. So first thing I wanted to go over, guys, like my watch list this last week was pretty small. We had Wix and we had Adobe and a couple other things. And while I could kind of watch the market via smartphone, laptop, I was able to put in some tweets. Let's see. I just wanted to kind of go through the Adobe trade with you. Steve, this is me. I just made it so you guys could follow me and I could post charts and stuff like that. And it's at Furu Killer. I don't know if you guys know what a Furu is, but it's a fake guru. There's a lot of fake gurus out there. It's hard to find people like Nate and Kyle and Jason because there's so many fake ones that are just trying to take your money. So that's what a Furu is. And a guru, is a good. So that's the Twitter handle right there. So on Adobe, one thing I want you guys to notice as well is a lot of charts have been looking like these charts. Do you see Lulu, Zoom, Adobe, Wix? Do you see how they were all kind of making that same pattern and they all started squeezing and firing? That's what I've been looking for. So on Adobe, let's pull that up. Let me pull up the watch list first. So you can see what it looked like at the beginning of the week. So this is what I was playing at the beginning of the week. So you guys see that same pattern, just that little squeeze. Momo started to change, broke out, retested. I was in it already, but got in it some more. And I want to show you how I played it throughout. So that's what it looked like. And then, here, let's, on Twitter, you gotta put those. Tweets and replies. I'm not great with Twitter. I don't know how many of you guys. I'm not great with much technological. I sent somebody 7,000 on PayPal when I was supposed to be requesting it. That's an accident. But so on Adobe, let's see. I did, Nate. Yeah, I did, Nate. I got it. So on Adobe, this was my first post telling you hey, this is a sell point. Do you guys understand why I was selling here? You guys see this volume profile, and I said, hey, this is going to provide some churn. All this is me farming a stock. So what I was doing, I sold into this area, and if you look at the Adobe chart, then you can see this is where I sold, right here, right where my mouse is. So do you guys understand why I sold that? Do you guys know why I sold right here? It was because of this volume profile right here. So all these people that were stuck in here, I was expecting them to start selling and allow me to sell up here and to buy back hopefully around this 448 range, right? To farm the stock. And so you can look on here. So do you see how it came back and touched that 448.49 range? So do you guys understand how I'm using volume profile to farm this stock? So look, it came back and touched. So I sold up here. I got, I think, $5 or $6 per on the options, and then I just bought them back here on this retest. Any questions on that, guys? So sell into resistance, buy on support. And then the next one I said, I told you in chat, I was going to sell it around 458.59. So around 49, about 459 to 460 was where I was seeing resistance. And that was right here. So I was selling here, and my philosophy is always sell resistance, buy support. So it had to prove to me that it's going to break through, and it did. And so then I bought support. All right. So that was the Adobe trade. Any questions on that before I jump into the PowerPoint? All set. All right, so that's just how I use it. You know, it's now if you can't farm like 20 different stocks, right? Like Nate has so many positions open, and Kyle. Some of them I just set them and forget them, and you can't farm them. But because I wasn't really doing much this week, I was able to watch Adobe and just play that one specifically. But that's kind of how I day trade things as well. Now the PowerPoint I put together, guys, you're not going to have a lot of aha moments in this. It's just kind of summing up kind of some of the stuff that we went through. And I believe I've done this in the bullpen. I don't think I've done it in here. So you might have seen some of this already. If you have, I apologize. We don't have a recording of it, so I'm going to record this one and make sure that we have it. Let me make sure I'm recording. Yes, I am. Okay. So becoming a successful trader means consistently taking money out of the markets. How many of us have had like really big wins and then just seen those wins be given back? So there's a saying that I love. It says profits in the market are often a temporary loan for most traders. So what that means is, yeah, a lot of people can get profits here and there, but this is about becoming a successful trader, meaning you can take it out consistently, you know. So let's zip through this real quick. Make sure I get out of here on time. All right, so I want you guys to describe people who succeed at trading. Type it in the chat room. Describe them. Just give me some list of people who succeed at trading. Disciplined, non-emotional, decisive, stick to the plan. Yeah, they stick to their plan. Disciplined. People who have a plan. That's right. Yep, good one. So Lee, specific trades and trading style that they do over and over again. So Lee, if I wanted to sum that up in one word, what would it be? Leanne, Jac. How would I? That's called something. It's very specific, right? It's called. I'll type it in. It's called an edge, right? Proven systems. That's your edge. So what's Nate's specific trades and trading style that they do over and over again, right? That was what you said. It's called an edge, right? Oh, your last name is Jack. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, those are great answers, and I want to. So all those things that you said, is that a skill or is it a core value? So, because when I ran my business, for those of you that don't know, I owned Subways. I took over some sport clips with my brother, and I've opened other businesses like Costa Vida. Some have failed, some have succeeded. That's part of life, right? You just want to have more succeed than fail, just like in trading. But when I did run my businesses, I never cared about a person's skill level. I could care less what your skill level was. I just cared about their core values, because I can't create core values in people, but I can teach people skills. So if you lack the core values needed to be a successful trader, there's really nothing I can do or anyone can do for you. If you have zero skills as a trader, but you have solid core values, then the sky's the limit. So my number one core value is growth mindset. I've talked to you guys about this a few times. Someone describe in chat, what have I told you guys a growth mindset is? If someone is going to have a growth mindset, what do we need? I have a growth mindset, and I'll give you an example of one. I don't have that gene that gets embarrassed. Now, I have bad anxiety. I have stomach pains, and I take medicine for my stomach, and I'm always worried the government's peeking over my shoulder, you know, and I'm kind of like John McAfee in that way, but I don't have the embarrassment gene. And so what that means is I don't care if I look stupid. Tiffany says teachable. Yeah, teachable is definitely being a part of it, but a growth mindset means you're willing to make mistakes, you're willing to look stupid, you're willing to ask dumb questions. It doesn't matter. You're just going to keep going. Beat me down. I'm keeping going. So how many of you guys speak Spanish? Put a 1 in there if you can speak Spanish. Okay, type a 1 in chat if you can speak Spanish. All right, Carmen, Efron, you guys ready for this? Yes, Heath, a growth mindset is the theme of Elite. Okay, you guys all speak Spanish? Okay, you ready? I'm a fat, white country boy, born in Louisiana, raised in the South, and I'm going to speak my Spanish to you. And anytime I can speak Spanish, I do, because I just think it's fun. I like speaking it. But I sound horrible, and I'm about to let you hear me. You ready? So my favorite phrase is, muchas gracias por la comida, right? So, estuvo morica, right? So how horrible does that sound? Like white boy, gringo accent, southern. It's horrible, right? But I don't care. I'm going to keep speaking Spanish because I want to learn. So that's part of growth mindset. You just do it over and over and over, you know, and you just keep going. And so to me in trading, sometimes like Nate this week, he's like, man, it's a great week. I don't know if you guys heard what he made on Monday, and he's just keeping his profits. I mean, he's been tearing it up. So he's on top of the world. But sometimes in trading, you can't throw it in the ocean, right? It's like, man, everything I'm trying is not working. Well, you just got to put your big boy pants and big girl pants on and keep going. That's what a growth mindset is. Everything else is pretty much self-explanatory, work ethic, introspective, self-aware. I don't know if you know what equanimity means. It's just calm, focused, committed. You know, number 5 is keeping your emotions in check, right? So these are some of the, yeah, Dave, that's a good Spanish word. Tequila. I can speak that as well. So for your core values, once you have those core values and you can recognize them, you have to be committed to them, right? And then we need to learn what to do, okay? So you've got a spectrum here. Don't know over here, no over here. Let me put on my laser pointer here. There we go. So don't know over here, no over here, right? So you need to know what to do in order to do it. And that's what we're trying to teach you at Raging Bull. And so my first thing to know is the language of charting. You got to understand charting. If you don't understand charting, what can you do? And then you have basically the do and don't do, right? On this quadrant. You got do up top, don't do at bottom. So after learning the what, it pulls back to your core value, and you must do what you know. So I have a simple phrase, ready? It's called, and I've used it in my business and my family, it's called say what you mean, do what you say, right? And then communicate when you can't. And what that means is, so in my business, I'd say, hey, Tyrone, be back at 11. I need you to work a double for me. He's like, okay, I can do that. Well, he calls me 15 minutes before 11 and says, hey, I'm running a little late, boss. I'll be there at 11:30. So he said what he meant. He did what he said, but he couldn't quite fulfill exactly what he was doing. And so he communicated why he couldn't. Now, guys, what this applies to for you is journaling, right? So you've got your plan. Do what you say you're going to do. And if you can't do it, write it down why. So for example, with Adobe or with Lulu or with any of these trades that we got working for us, if you took your profits too soon, write down why. Why did I take my profits too soon? Were you scared? Was my size too big? Why couldn't I follow my plan? That's why journaling is so important, because you're writing down why you're taking the trade, not only when, but why, and when you're exiting and why you're exiting. And then you can go back and you can say, I'm trading too big. Not following my plan because of A, B, and C. And you can adjust that so that you can get up here into the do. You like this training, Heatha? All right. I use this in business all the time. So where are you, guys? Pick somewhere on this quadrant. Where are you? You know, review the quadrants. Some people get lucky when they start trading. I did. I was able to turn that $2,800 that I started with into about 110 in under a year with Kyle. You know, Kyle would say, hey, get in this. And I'm like, bam, I'm all in. Bam, I'm all in. I hit a few trades and I doubled my account real quick, got it up to 25,000. Honestly, guys, I didn't fear losing because I hadn't lost. And honestly, I didn't need that money. And so it was just no psychological trauma had been involved. There was a lot of luck. But after I decided, you know what? I'm going to start doing this as a living, and I'm going to take my money, invest it into the market, and make this my source of income. Well, it became real, right? It became scary. And so I started losing money, and I lost a lot. And I became idle. I was afraid to press the buy button. I was like, what if it goes down? I'm afraid. So the fear was controlling me. So I had moved from the lucky quadrant into the idle quadrant. But when I did put on a trade, I was just sitting there eyeballing it like, when is it going to go against me? When am I going to lose the money? And so as soon as I'd see a little bit of green, I'd take it off. How many of you guys take off your profits too soon and let your losers run? Because that is the main problem that traders face. And you have to flip it, right? You take your goal is $1,000 in profit. You take it off at 300, but you let that risk. Your risk was 500, so you were doing a 2-to-1. I'm going to risk 500 for a goal of 1,000. You let that. You easily let it run to 500 on the loss side. Sometimes you're like, well, maybe I'll double up here, and then it goes to 1,000. And so you easily let your profits, your losers run, but you're quick to take your profits. That's what was happening to me in this idle zone. As soon as I put them on, it was like, And so I was stuck in this idle zone. Now, if you know what to do and you're not doing it, guess where that puts you? You're cheating. You're trying to cheat the process, guys. You can't go from trading 100 shares to 10,000 shares like Kyle. It's a mental process you've got to go through. And so by trying to come up here into the know and the do, this is where we want to be. We want to be valued. This is where we create value for ourselves, for our company, for the people around us, for our families, by doing what you know is value, okay? So again, remember, where are you? And wherever you are, think of how are we going to get you up and over. That's the goal, up and over to the valued quadrant. All right, let me catch up on chat a little bit, take a little... Let's see. Chad says, yep, but my main problem is getting out at a set alert and then watching the stock run up to what would have been an absolute killer of a gain. I sold Mara at my goal of $2 last week, only to watch it run up to $5 this week. So, Chad, I'll tell you something. You're never going to hit the top or the bottom. And if you do, all you are is lucky, right? It happens, man. It happens all the time. I sold Tesla for like a measly 250% winner in it. If I would have still held on to it to today, we could have all retired, right? But the only thing that matters is following what you've done, following what you've planned, and keeping that sustainable edge. However, if you want to improve on letting them run a little bit longer, what I would tell you is size out and keep, what I do is I'll keep like 1/10 to 1/5, and I'll put a stop loss on that. That allows me to let it go. Tiffany says, I'm really trying to do what Nate does on winners, take half off and stops. Yeah, exactly. So you're sizing in and you're sizing out. All right. So this next chart, this next slide is one of my favorite. It's hilarious. Okay. If you're a guy, you know what this is. For all the women in the room, somebody tell me in chat what this is. And the women might even know what it is. Heck, I mean, you may have been in a guy's bathroom. What is this? What are we looking at? A urinal, that's right. So what's right here in the middle of this urinal? What is that right there? Come on, I raise boys. Exactly, yeah. That's a target, right? So I went over this presentation with Anant. I did it one-on-one with him. I took Anant under my wing, and I've been trying to specifically help him. And Anant told me a story about this. He did a paper on this. I think he said it was in college. Anant, if you're in the room, you could correct me if I'm wrong. But putting this little shell yearly, guess how much money it saves in house cleaning? So this is to reduce the splatter, right? The blue seashell. It's to reduce the splatter, and it reduces the splatter by over 75%. Simple target, right? So, yeah, a Cheerio for your aim Subordinate. So guess how much money them putting this blue seashell saves in housekeeping? According to Anant, it saves about $9 million a year. Yeah, you got to have a target. You know, I don't know what it is, Heath. The boys get bored and we just start, you know, going all over the place, playing around, making drawings. Especially, I have a little, he just turned 8. I have a little 8-year-old boy. They'll just be in there like writing his name in the toilet. Stuff going everywhere. And it's like, oh my gosh, just keep it in one spot. So guys, the reason we put this in this slide though, is it's a target. It's a target for us to aim at, right? Targets. Now, if you set goals, or if you don't know the language of charting, set a goal to learn it. If you don't know the no, you've got to get that and set a goal. All right, so what, I forgot your first name, last name was Jack. Tiffany, no, I forgot who it was, but they said basically an edge. You need to find your edge, okay? Raging Bull has many edges. They teach a plethora of them. You need to pick one and master it. What a lot of newer traders do is they'll go with Nate for a little while, it'll work, and then it'll start losing. You can't do it right, and then you'll jump to Kyle, then you'll jump to Jason, then you'll jump to Jeff and Jeff B, then Jeff Williams. You're jumping all over the place. Well, you need to pick one and master it, okay? And the only way to know if you master something is to measure the progress. This requires journaling and review. A profit and loss doesn't make you successful. If you're making money, that doesn't mean you can consistently take money out of the market, okay? This is why journaling is so important. It allows you to go back and look over your trades. That allows you to review and improve. So in basketball, I would watch tape as much as I practice. I'm sure Ben played professionally. I'm sure he did the same thing. So you go back and you watch tape. It's a must for progression. You've got to journal, and you've got to journal when you're taking, why you're taking, when you're exiting, why you're exiting. And so an example of journaling is when I go back and I look at the weekly watch lists and I say, hey, this is what I was 7 for 9. This is the ones that worked, ones that didn't. Here I took profits too soon. You know, I do this literally with all my trades. I don't do it in a journal anymore, but I do it in my head. But I did do it in a journal for years. All right. So after I had learned the skills to trade, I moved myself out of the idle quadrant and over, but I began cheating. I wanted to go back to where I was, where I could just throw on a huge trade and make $30,000. I was trying to cheat my way into becoming a successful trader because I'd not taken on the psychological side of trading. You guys, we went over that psychological training with you guys. If you go over it, watch it a few times, once you have the no, 99% of it is psychological. It's all psychological. And so each tick caused me anxiety, stress, and worry. Like, remember I told you at the beginning, I'm a high anxiety person. I have extreme amounts of pain throughout my daily life, and that's what I'm afraid of, is pain and being caused pain and causing my family harm. And so I have anxiety about it. And so just imagine I took all that anxiety and I was applying it into my trading. And so I had to learn to control that. And that's the psychological edge. And so the chart would never break down. I would get stopped out and it would eventually do what I wanted it to do. But then I'd be angry because it stopped me out. And I'd say, I knew it. Why did I let them shake me out? And I was trading too big. And so after understanding risk management, it allowed the psychological side of trading to become much easier. Okay? All right. Now, putting it all together has allowed me to stay at what I call home base and go back and look at the psychological training to learn what home base means. That's just where you're calm, cool, collective. You're not worrying about anything. You're got your trade on, and if it stops you out, it stops you out. If you make money, you make money. It doesn't matter what the market does. I'm in control. And I'll do what I need to do. Okay, so requirements to stay at valued. Understand the language of charting, right? You have to have an edge. Make strategy, right? That's an example of an edge. You need to journal, review. This allows you to know if the edge is working, all right? You have the luxury raging bull of having many edges taught to you. You got to have your mental and psychological state under control. You have to have your risk management, understand that, and you have to, number one, accept slow growth. Don't expect to go from making $100, $200 to making $2,000 or $3,000. Accept slow growth. And I want to show you this. See this exponential growth here? If you accept slow growth, you're going to exponentially grow over time. So what I call it is you earn the right to trade large, right? So how many of you guys right now would bet your life savings on a game of one-on-one with LeBron James or Michael Jordan or any basketball player in the NBA? So with my ego, I'd probably do it. That's just me. I'm a pretty egotistical guy. You can just ask my wife. I think I'm Superman and can do anything. But I'm going to lose, but I still think, hey, I think I could do it. I could hit enough threes to take them, but I'm going to lose, right? You're not going to do it. The U.S. markets, guys, that's the NBA of trading. You literally have the best in the world, and everyone out there is trying to take your money. Why risk it until you have proven yourself through journaling that you can be successful? So start trading with 100 shares or one option contract. After proving you can win consistently and showing you can handle the emotions of trading that particular size, then you can move up to 200 and then repeat the process, right? Then go to 400. And if you move up a level and you can't take the heat, simply reduce the back to where you were. So if you, let's say you go from 400 to 800 and you start to have the anxiety in the world, well, go from 400 to 600 or to 500. Figure out where you're comfortable. And eventually your growth becomes exponential and you'll end up in places you never thought possible. That's how trading works. It's not an overnight success. Okay? So if it was easy, everyone would do it. I never wanted the easy road, and to see things that no one else has seen, you must go places that no one else has ever gone. Anyone can do it because I did it. I'm not special. I have a growth mindset. I have no special gifts. I just never quit. Decide that you're never going to quit and you're going to do what it takes, and you can be right here in this profitable area, and that is the valued area, right? So again, here's your requirements to stay at value. Take a screenshot of it. This is what you need, okay? This is how you stay at value. We already went over it, and I want to make sure I'm out of here on time. So here are just some habits of good traders that you can take a screenshot of. Patient with winning trades, impatient with losing trades. There's no right and wrong in trading. You're just taking shots. You know the charts are simply telling you where people are lined up with volume profile. Before entering a trade, you have a planned stop loss and a planned profit target. You can see the right side of the chart forming, not just Monday morning quarterback. What I mean by that is when I see a chart, guys, I literally am drawing it out in my mind before it's being put on the chart. I'm saying this looks like it's making an ascending triangle. I'm not just reading the left side, I'm reading the right side. Now, you approach every trade the same. It doesn't matter if you won or lost on the last one. You have to approach them all the same. Know that being uncomfortable is normal. So, when a stock is going down and going into a support zone, it's hard. It's hard to buy it. So like on now, anytime now hits the 8 or the 21, I'm getting into it. And it's always scary at that point because it's going down. But I've trained myself to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. You have to be willing to flip long or short. You have to be willing to play both sides of the market. And the other things is, guys, the market's always going to be open and there's always going to be plenty of opportunities. And the last one is don't trade the P&L. So that's it, guys. Derek says, Donald, before you go, can you please show the previous slide for a few seconds? This one right here, Derek. So there's not a lot of aha moments in this. You know, it's stuff that you've been taught, it's stuff that you've learned, and hopefully this gives you a map and a plan of how to get from the whatever quadrant you're in to the value quadrant. And any questions, guys? Yeah. Heath will put it. I've recorded it, and Heath will put it in the recording here. I'm going to stop the recording and just ask any questions to keep the recording shorter. All right.